Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the person who forgot to create himself an intro, Disco Lando! Woo-hoo! He also had caffeine in the last 10 minutes. Welcome to CitizenCon Day 2, everybody! Are you pumped?
Was ist denn mit ihm los?
Are you psyched?
Das war kein Kaffee, der hat sich ein Energy
Have
aber
you
woanders
eaten
reingehört.
2 dogs? Get in your seats. It's about to start, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Day 2. I'm not going to take up any more of your time. Up first, character advancement with Ian, Sean, Forrest, Andre. Give it up. Bone, start the show.
David ist so geil, ich liebe den Mann einfach. Das ist so gut.
Das ist einer der besten Entertainer in der Szene.
Ist
einfach.
wirklich so. Es ist
Hello
der
there.
Beste. Hello there.
Hey everyone, it's so good to see you all again in person. Thanks for coming out. So I'm Ian, I'm the art director for Star Citizen. We're going to kick off the first ever Day 2 of CitizenCon by talking about some of the awesome work done by the character team. All right. So first, let's talk about life in a frontier system like Pyro and how this influences the character designs. So we wanted to create something unique compared to what we've seen in Stanton already. We wanted to give a wider visual palette and a feeling of historical age between the different solar systems. So this chart describes the fashion pillars for humanity. We can see where all suits, armors, and fashion items should belong. In terms of material use, manufacturing technology, and novelty. So you can see Earth fashion on the left, Terra fashion on the right, and frontier fashion right in the middle with a little bit of overlap of Earth. So essentially, frontier fashion is function over form. They are repurposed and repaired, and generally are misfits rather than sets. Outfits are purposeful by having storage solutions. This implies survivability along the frontier. Okay, let's take a look at some of these assets in the game.
Geht gut los. Hey, Grauer Wolf. Grauer Wolf für dich nochmal. Ausrufezeichen SC. Jetzt ist ein Referral-Code da. Also, ne? Kriegst 30 € geschenkt, wenn du es dir jetzt kaufen würdest, weil wir drüber gesprochen hatten. Und du hast ja einen Account schon angelegt. Die Klamotten sehen schon geil aus. Ist direkt ein ganz anderes Feeling zum Reinkommen als gestern. Das ist Wahnsinn. Das sind die Goodie-Klamotten von der CitizenCon.
Ja, das ist das Outfit.
Okay, awesome. So hopefully you guys that played Pirate Playground, you will have seen a few of those assets being showcased. So as we saw from the video, pouches and storage are a key part of the Frontier aesthetic. This drives the feeling of survivability. But from here, we thought it'd be really cool to give the functionality, but also some customization options. So let's take a look at a video we just developed internally, and this is for modular storage items on the player.
Okay.
Ja,
Das
Obstkuchen
find ich
hat ja
geil.
gesagt. Es gibt keine wirklichen Sets, sondern eher so Flickwerke.
Ja, vor allem Klamotten selber konfigurieren,
Ja.
das ist top.
Ja, es wird fürs Stats auch noch übernommen, 100%.
Ja, ja, klar, für alles, aber das ist... Wie geil ist das? Crafting.
Den Code hast du schon eingegeben, Grauer Wolf. Du hast ja schon einen Account angelegt. Wenn du jetzt das Spiel kaufst, dann kriegst du den Referral-Bonus obendrauf. Und zwar einen Hoverquad, was 35 € wert ist.
Nee, guck mal.
Naja, ist halt geil, anstatt so einen riesen Rucksack zu haben. Einfach viele kleine, das ist so gut.
Ey, vor allem, was das wieder möglich macht, du kannst dann die Klamotten, die du dir zusammengebaut hast, irgendwo in den Schrank hängen und je nachdem, welches Outfit du dir anziehst, hast du verschiedene Konfigurationen von Taschen, in denen verschiedene Sachen schon drin sind, weil du die da drin lassen kannst, so wie das da. Ey, was...
Die sind aber sehr, sehr klein. Sehr, sehr klein.
Ja, ja, klar, es sind halt nur Pouches, aber es ist ja das Coole daran.
Du siehst halt aus wie so ein, ne?
Ja, und du hast ja zusätzlich noch die, also das sind ja Klamotten, das ist ja keine Rüstung.
Ja, ja, klar.
Das ist
Klar, das ist, genau, du hast endlich bei Klamotten
Pretty cool,
noch Platz.
right? So I think this will provide loads of customization options in the future. We're super happy about that. So we also created some extreme weather costumes for Frontier locations, and these also follow the same mismatched and repurposed design aesthetics.
Geil. Richtig geil.
Now we've also been focusing on achieving a higher visual benchmark. So this is all driven by our new Layer Blend V2 shader and its texture library. And we focused on more consistent wearing between 0 and 100% values. So to showcase this, let's look at a quick example asset.
Wie geil, einfach alles in Videos heute, ey.
Dieser Layer ist das, was sie auch ganz viel eingebaut haben bei der Santok Yai.
Mhm. Ja. Das sieht geil aus. Naja, Mabu siehst ja hier direkt. Ne? Also es sind drei unterschiedliche Helme, die du schon nutzen könntest. Sehr geil.
All right. So as we saw in the video, the insides of the helmets are looking fantastic. Now this is us getting them ready to animate with put on and take off.
Nice.
Mega
Das
gut.
gab's schon mal, aber das hat nicht so gut ausgesehen. Dann haben sie es weggemacht, jetzt ist es wieder da. Das ist gut.
So in summary, Frontier Fashion is expanding the visual design palette for humans, giving a more credible feeling of age and history when you travel across multiple solar systems. All right, now let's talk about something different. Now we're going to talk about some of the gangs in Star Citizen. So Ninetales have been one of the main gangs in the game. So far, over 105 million have been taken out by you guys.
Die Hälfte von mir, ich will es nur gesagt haben.
So you guys have been busy. Great job. All right. So it was like, all right, now we're going to need to introduce a few more factions to the game, okay? So the first faction we're going to talk about is Rough and Ready. So the aesthetic of the gang was to be subtle. They're understated in terms of clothing, and they almost blend into their environment. On closer inspection, you'll notice their tattoos. These signify rank and progression within the gang. Let's take a look at a quick video.
Das ist so eine gute Idee. Für eine Orga auch mit Tattoos.
Ja. Das finde ich so geil, weil die haben ja das Rest-Stop. Das heißt eigentlich Rest and irgendwas, Rest and Repair oder so ähnlich. Und die haben es einfach genommen als Rough and Ready. Ja, Mabu, ich glaube, das sollte aber auch irgendwann noch kommen, dass du es so kombinieren kannst. Ja, vielleicht so das im Moment nur der Container, wo die Rüstung eingehängt wird.
Alter, ich hoffe, man kann sich seine Tattoos selbst machen, außer die Time to Penis. Die sollte man vielleicht rauslassen. Aber wie geil wäre das, wenn du eigene Tattoos von deiner Orga dann da reinmachen kannst? Oh, wie geil sieht das aus. Neue Frisur für Frauen. Nice.
Der Melaninfilter, der von der Haut ist krass. Das ist, siehst du, dass es unter der Haut ist, also in der Haut ist.
Absoluter Wahnsinn.
Da siehst du es mit den Poren drüber.
Mega geil. Mega geil. Ich weiß nicht warum, aber es erinnert sofort so ein bisschen auch an Cyberpunk, oder?
Ja, auch die Musik. Das ist so ein bisschen, glaube ich, Absicht auch.
I think they look absolutely fantastic. Okay. So the rough and ready can be found in some of the space stations around Pyro. Now the tattoos, like I said, the tattoos form a progressive design. This illustrates the hierarchy within the gang. As a player, you'll be able to earn these tattoos and apply them to your character.
Geil. Du gehörst so quasi zur Gang, wie cool.
Okay, cool. The next gang we're going to talk about is Headhunters. So this gang is also located in Pyro, but offers a completely different frontier aesthetic.
Ich weiß, wie Mabu bald aussieht.
More of a wasteland vibe, with lots of personality, and this will translate into the behavior types. Now this gang is currently in production, but let's take a quick sneak peek.
Tattoos sind wahnsinnig gut.
Oder das Shading. Bei denen sieht man ja Shading sogar. Die anderen waren nur so harte Linien. Das hier sind richtig geschadete Tattoos. Wie geil das aussieht.
Ja. Wieso, Mabu, ich kenne dich. Ich glaube, so werden 90% aller Spieler rumlaufen.
Wenn es neues Jahr, aber ich glaube irgendwann, wenn dann wieder irgendwie neue Future-Tech-Rüstung oder sowas kommt, dann holen sich die meisten wieder.
Nee, die Bösen müssen alle so aussehen dann.
Okay.
Weil das ist ja böse. Ja.
Ja.
Das ist genauso wie jetzt alle Bösen rot sein müssen, rot-schwarz. Ja. Das ist halt immer so ein Ding. Ich bin böse, guck mich an. Die Tattoos sind mega schön, ja. Wenn jetzt in diesem Videoabschnitt noch Facial herkommt, also Bartwuchs, dann klatze ich, glaube ich. Super schöne Tattoos. Ich will dicke Bäuche.
Ja, das sind die Wüstenmenschen.
Okay, so cosplay competition next year. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. All right. All right. So they're looking awesome. Now, the last gang we want to talk about is Dusters. So Dusters are a criminal gang specializing in mining-related crimes.
Die habe ich neulich irgendwo
Now,
umgeschossen
internally, I love
also
the original Desert Nomad armor. You can see him here, right? Now, I wanted to use it as a starting point to establish the Dusters design language. So here we can see...
Die Legendary will ich haben.
Das
wie
sieht
gut
ja
das einfach aussieht.
gut aus.
Aber ich glaube, das liegt hauptsächlich an dem
So
Cape.
here we can see the Dusters gang lineup, showing armor leveling and rarity. So as a player, you'll have horizontal armor progression, This will define your role and playstyle. Then you'll have vertical progression. This is your progression within that role and playstyle.
Hey, Bärlauch.
For example, a common bounty hunter armor set will be weaker than a legendary, and as armor progresses in strength, it's harder to acquire. So harder missions, rarer drops, higher reputation. Now, as we're talking a little bit about armor sets, let's recap a little.
Eine
So
Sache
the
direkt.
goal is that players should consider which armor to equip based on the role they wish to fill and the scenario they're heading into. There will be also greater differences between the current armor types. So light, medium, and heavy, and this will be in protection and mobility. New armor categories will be combat, specialist, utility, and support.
Nice.
Das ist wirklich gut.
Sehr geil.
And these will define the type of items that are quickly available on the slots of the suit. There will also be additional functionality to assist in your chosen role. A matrix of armor type versus category will provide a variety of roles, with each providing best-in-class benefits.
Geil.
There will also be hindrances to out-of-role gameplay. For example, if you're wearing a heavy armor set and you're trying to fly a little snub fighter, you'll have restricted visibility and less vehicle control.
Finally.
Das finde ich cool.
Finally, ja.
Dass sie nicht sagen, es ist komplett ausgesperrt, sondern es ist halt schlechter.
Ja.
So in this scenario, like a flight suit armor type with resistance to milder G-forces would be preferred. Okay.
Sehr, sehr geil.
So as we saw in Ali's presentation yesterday, hygiene simulates and tracks the accumulated effects of a character going unwashed for any length of time.
Dafür ist Schwitzen wichtig, stimmt.
Poor hygiene can lead to disease, lowered health, and snarky comments. Hygiene decays faster if a character becomes dirty or wears dirty clothing or armor.
Geil.
And visual effects are going to be displayed on the character's skin, such as blood, sweat, and dirt. Certain usables, such as a shower, will reset the character's hygiene and clean away all of those dirt effects. So let's keep clean. Yeah.
Sehr geil. Jetzt nur noch kacken.
Okay, so that covers a quick recap on armor sets and hygiene. Let's get back to a video showcasing the dusters.
Ganz kurz, weil eben hatten wir die eine Rüstung gesehen, wo wir gesagt haben, die ist geil, dann hatten wir die andere Rüstung gesehen, die ist geil. Die sind ja unterschiedliche Gangs. Das bedeutet, du musst dich am Anfang auch ein bisschen entscheiden, wo will ich Reputation farmen, um auch besser an so eine Rüstung ranzukommen. Was
Ja,
ziemlich
oder
geil
du ballerst
ist.
alle um und stellst es dir zusammen, wie du willst.
Ja klar, aber trotzdem, ne, macht es ja Sinn, wenn ich in dieser Gang einen höheren Reputation habe, dann kriege ich eher die Legendary-Rüstung, als
Ja,
wenn ich
stimmt,
jemanden
ja.
suche, der die vielleicht gerade mal trägt. So. Aber das ist, also Hygiene habe ich komplett vergessen, ne? Ich habe immer Relax und so, das habe ich immer mit drin gehabt, aber Hygiene habe ich komplett vergessen. Super geil, dass das jetzt auch schon Teil des Games wird.
Ja, aber deswegen habe ich schon bei so vielen Schiffen gesehen, wurde mich gefragt, wo Leute gesagt haben, oh, das ist ein guter Daily Driver, wo ich so dachte, ja, aber da kannst du nicht essen und nicht duschen zum Beispiel. Also das vergessen halt viel. So Bett ist alleine reicht halt nicht. Im Moment ja, aber
Da
auf
achte ich
Zukunft
tatsächlich
halt
immer
nicht.
drauf. Also bei Daily Drivern achte ich immer auf Dusche und Klo. Ja, aber ich vergesse tatsächlich immer wieder, dass das ja auch ins Game muss.
Was Bärlauch gerade sagte, stimmt, der Devanov wird nicht wissen, der wird jeden Tag in einer anderen Rüstung rumlaufen.
Ja, weil die alle böse sind. Böse Rüstung. Wenn die dann noch rot und schwarz sind, dann geht's
Ja,
richtig
aber
los.
Devanov ist auch der Typ, der dann halt wirklich irgendwo auf einem Planeten für 8 Stunden am Stück campt, weil er auf irgendeinen NPC wartet, der unter Umständen eine legendäre Rüstung davon anhat, weil er die Schultern von denen will oder sowas. Weil das gut aussieht.
Und dann kommt ein 30k und alles ist weg. Kann ich Artimex bald wieder kaufen? Es gibt gerade die Kanuto, kannst du gerade kaufen, indem
So
du...
you'll be able to find the dusters
den Nomad
scattered
holst.
around various derelict settlements and wrecks in Stanton. And the dusters will be available Q4 this year.
Oh.
Stanton ist das auch. Wichtig.
Ja, macht ja Sinn. Damer ist
And
ja
with
Süd-
that, I'll hand
Wüste.
you over to Sean Tracy. You guys have been awesome. Enjoy the rest of your show.
Schauen.
Hello,
Yes, it's
everyone.
Den mag ich. Der ist immer so relaxed.
Ja, das ist aber das
All right, so I'm Sean Tracy. I'm the
Mhm.
Senior Director of Tools and Tech Content here at Cloud Imperium Games in Los Angeles.
In jedem Star Citizen Live sagt er aber irgendwas, ne?
So today I
Aber
want to
nicht
talk
sagen soll.
about Starcloth. And Starcloth was initially unveiled at a previous CitizenCon kind of in an early stage. So it's now rolled into full production and it's used in both Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. So it's going to be seen on more and more assets like some of the great art that you just saw. So what's really cool about it is that it's unified with the physical world, whereas before it wasn't unified and was based completely on character
Und vor
movement.
vielen Leuten kann er
Now,
nicht
it's
so gut.
faster than the previous cloth setups, and in the end, it just looks a whole lot better. So
Schnell durch.
today, I'm going to cover some of the tech, the pipeline, and we'll see some results.
Gott,
So
redet
let's
der
get
schnell?
and see it in action.
So schnell habe ich den noch nie reden hören. Der ist so nervös, heilige Scheiße.
Ich habe auch gerade die Geschwindigkeit so eingestellt. Das ist die Idris übrigens von N.
Ja,
das
das
ist
ist
der Idris-Hangar.
ja. Und da war gerade
Cloth
ein
is hard.
die
Guys have
Empirie.
to run upstairs, they have to crouch, they have to prone, it's got to collide with the environment.
Wo ist der
And
Ball?
even more difficult, it needs to hold up in high-end cinematics.
Ist so.
Das ist, wo die Valkyrie jetzt drüber fliegt gleich.
Mhm.
Glaube ich. Also ja, eigentlich ein Trailer.
I cut that one just before some good spoilers, so. Yeah. All right, so how's it all work? Well, Cloth uses two meshes, a simulation mesh or cage, and the render mesh itself. So vertex colors indicate how it's constrained to that cage, and thus the simulation. So for example, black vertex colors indicate a full constraint. Basically, it follows the skinning. White vertex colors indicate unconstrained vertices. So the movement is determined entirely by the simulation. And then we can do a blend of gray values that is used for fine transitions and blending and fall off in between the fully skinned and fully simulated assets. So in the end, these meshes are sent to the engine where we bind the cage to the render mesh, and then tech artists can leverage some of the runtime tools. You can see up on the image that the sim cage mesh has about 5,000 triangles, whereas the actual render mesh is about 45,000 triangles. So it's obviously much more efficient to simulate the sim cage mesh versus just the render mesh itself. So part of the technology is the runtime iteration support, which you can see in the image above me here. That's with all the red spheres. Here we're actually painting the collision radius of every single one of the vertices, and it allows us to fine-tune the simulation without having to add arbitrary collision meshes, though we can. We paint a variety of properties, so some of these other properties are mass or displacement. In the top right, you can see an example of the old legacy implementation using pendulums. And this uses joint chains and collisions, but assets with multiple layers like the one that you can see there, or ones like skirts or gowns, they were really, really difficult to do with pendulum simulation, but they are solved with Starcloth.
Weil die
So
durcheinander klippen.
I mentioned it's
Genau.
completely unified with the physical world. And what that really means is that wind, impacts, object collisions, thruster backwash, all these kind of things actually react to the cloth reacts to these things, and so much more. So it's not just character movement.
Das ist so
Now,
gut,
it's a
ne?
hyper-efficient simulation, and it's several orders of magnitude faster than the legacy implementation that we used before, and has a lot of easy-to-control parameters for tech art, which are compression, stretching, and bending. So as mentioned yesterday by Chris Rain, our senior lead physics programmer, we support soft body tapered capsules, which are twice as fast as our ragdoll capsules. It's also key to solving one of the most important aspects of plausible cloth simulation, and that's mitigating the tunneling or the clipping that happens through a character. So it's very, very difficult to solve with pendulums. So with all this tech in mind, we can do really complicated assets like the duster and the one I want to show you now.
Das ist schon ziemlich gut.
Ja, das ist ja Multilayer, das ist das Krasse. Guck, das
genau, da
So here you're
nicht
seeing about
ineinander.
5 different layers of cloth going on and self-colliding between each other. It's reacting to the planet wind, which is always changing.
Das ist schon ziemlich gut, ey.
On the front, there's a big leather apron. So this one's actually a lot heavier and it moves a lot differently than the cloth
Guck
on
mal,
the
selbst
back.
unten bei der Jacke, ne? Das sieht so ein bisschen so aus, als würde es klippen, aber der hintere, der dreht sich quasi weg. Also der innere Teil dreht sich weg. Das klippt nicht durch, das dreht sich
So
weg.
he's walking into the wind here.
Das ist schon ziemlich gut.
Der hat Bart übrigens, hast du gesehen? Der hat Bart.
Er hat
And
einen
in the
Bart.
end, as I mentioned, it just looks a whole lot better. So with that, I want to hand you off to my friend Andre Piers, who's going to talk about hair.
Das war die Überleitung nämlich,
Ja.
dass sie den Typen mit dem Bartarm rumlaufen lassen.
Er kann halt nicht über Haar reden.
Hi,
weil er
hi,
hat weder
everyone.
oben noch am Bart. Er
So, nice to be here in LA with all you guys. So I want to start with a question, okay? How many of you are actually excited that we're getting new hair into the verse?
ja, ich. Hallo, ich. Hi. Vielleicht endlich mal Frauenhaare, weil
All right. So, I'm Andre. I'm the lead artist in our recently formed hair department.
seine
We
Frisur,
branched
die er
out
hat.
from the character art team and created this department. And it's a pleasure to be here today with all of you and tell you that we're damn proud of what we achieved. It's been a long road, but definitely worth it, okay? Now, we're going to start by just looking at the most impactful changes that we have in our workflow, okay? A bit of a technicality part. Then you're going to get to look at the benchmark assets we have created, okay? And from there, we're going to take a glimpse into the future of what hair could be with a more diverse hairstyle, where we're trying to run away a little bit from the military look that was driven mostly by what Squadron 42 was, so because we did a lot of work for that as well. And yeah, from there, as a last note, I'll have a special announcement for you guys, okay? Don't want to spoil it, but you stick around, you're going to love what we have, okay? So, first thing I want to touch now, very simply, okay? Hair for games is hard. It's really hard. Oh, by the way, did I tell you these are actually game-ready assets in the persistent universe?
Okay, ja. Es sieht halt wirklich aus wie Haar und nicht wie ein
Fully
Playmobil.
rendered in our engine, okay? Game-ready, performant, ready to be shipped, okay? So, hair is really hard, like I was saying. It is a AAA challenge, basically. You see games that get it, games that don't. Some of them get it more or less. Either way, for us the challenge is the same. We're not different, and the challenge is real. We scope a Star Citizen, like day-night cycles, all these light shafts, all this MMO, people running around with the hairs, a lot of motion, a lot of fast-paced movement. Yeah, it is hard. But the best thing is, we have arrived, okay? It is, yeah, clap. It is, it doesn't end here, okay? Yeah. It does not end here, okay? It's the nature of CIG. We just keep pushing the boundaries, but like I said, we're really proud of what we're showing you here today. So let's dive in what we made all this possible, okay? On a high note, on a high level, basically, a successful hair requires 3 fundamental elements, okay? There's the texture, there's the placement, and there's also the shader. If one of these elements fails, all of them do. Okay, so it's basically, you can have a great texture, great placement. If your shader is wrong, no go, really. And the same if the texture fails or if the placement fails. So really vital, really important that everything works together. But The good thing is, by breaking down the hair into these three parts, it also allows us to actually go deep into each of them and push the quality up. Or like Chris Roberts would say, bring the high fidelity, right? So, on the texture end, there was a lot of changes. What you see on the top there, the common approach of a AAA game would be to have true black, true white on a transparency map, a bit of taper on the tips and roots, and call it a day. That's what happens in 99% of the games. Now at CIG, we went a bit further than that. We tested all the thicknesses that were actually reasonable to test, of course, and we came to a realization. The hair doesn't need to be thin enough. It just needs to look thin. We do need it to be thicker enough, thicker than real life hair, because if you take one of your hairs, you'll see it's really thin, right? So it does need to be renderable. That means if it's really thin, it will be sub-pixel rendered at some point. With the motion and all that, we will get a lot of artifacts. And so that would be a no-go. We do need it to be thicker than in real life. But can we make it look thin? That was the question. So we came to the realization that from hair, or from scalp to hair, and from hair to the background, so these 2 points, the transition points, are the most important ones for the hair. So we aggressively tapered the tips, which is what you see over there, and added a gradient to it. So no longer true black and true white. Now, this is a lot of technicality. You will see practical examples of this, but that allowed us to have smooth transitions and basically achieve the result we expected. On the placement side, we came up with hair libraries, basically. Now, I could be here all day talking about hair libraries, okay? Because I'm a very technical person, and if you see me around the venue, feel free, I'm Andre, you can just come and talk to me about this. I'm not gonna bother you all that for 1 hour about this, but I'm gonna give you a very quick example that you all can relate. So, imagine in real life, you have a construction business and you could make one wall, one roof, one floor and one window. You make it all work together, and from there, you're not only building your house, you're actually building the whole town, and then the whole state, and then eventually the whole universe, right? That's what hair libraries are. Obviously, the result, if you could do that, it would be much cheaper, much faster, and above all, you wouldn't have a fruit salad of assets, which was what we had in the hair
Mikro ist ein bisschen nah an
not
ihm.
too long ago.
Hört
And
man
by
sehr
fruit
stark.
salad, I mean
Irgendwas macht
several
Geräusche,
artists
das klickert.
working through the years, each one of them applying their own workflow. Everybody's at different levels of quality, of course, different minds, different ways of seeing the same problem. So, at the end of the day, fruit salad, right? And we wanted uniform quality. So for that, hair libraries are a great solution. We also decreased the time of production of hairs. So, it was taking us 20 to 40 days to create one hairstyle per artist, okay? Right now, it's going from like 3 to 5, 7 days per hairstyle, which is that great news, okay? So, yeah, that was a major achievement.
Ja, weil sie, okay, und sie nehmen jetzt wirkliche Haare und machen damit eine Frisur.
Ja.
Nicht,
So,
sie bauen die
hair
Frisur
libraries
von Anfang an.
Ja.
are just a thing. We love it. It's not
Das
just
ist krank.
picking up a texture and putting it there. If you do that, like you need to actually
ich
see
sehe hier
the
gerade
scope.
unendlich viele
Gladly,
Frisuren
we have
demnächst
some
auf
of the
uns
best
zukommen.
artists in the world on hair working with us, so we managed to achieve this at the scope that we wanted. Now, on the shader side,
Ja, genau.
there was plenty of changes as well. Some of them are very techy, very
Barbershop.
cool as well. I'm going to run through fast
Anstatt Barbershop,
some of them so you
Barbership
guys
ist gut.
can understand the scope of what we're dealing with. But let's just understand, like, at bake time, so bake time is prior to runtime. Runtime is where the game runs. Bake time, we're preparing the asset to actually put it in the engine. At bake time, we calculate the custom normal and we store it per vertex. So each vertex gets a custom normal. That makes, in a practical sense, for those who are not too technical, it basically makes the card, the air card, not look like a card. So the normals is help with the way the light reflects. We kind of do more smoke and mirrors on it and make it look not like a card by just baking it that way. Now, on the ambient occlusion, we store two baked ambient occlusions onto the color channels of the vertices as well. Now, each vertex on a mesh in any game has a color. to it, okay? You might use it or not. Imagine in a car, you have a trunk. You can use it or not. It's up to you. It's not silly to use the car without using the trunk, of course, but if you have a luggage, you can put it there or in the back seat, wherever you want. Now, we decided to use this because it was free. The trunk was already there, so the vertex color was already there, and we just decided to store 2 ambient occlusions on it. These 2 ambient occlusions work this way. Light hairs, like a blonde hair, obviously needs more shadowing, or less shadowing than a dark hair, right? And so we store 2. The length of the card is now baked onto the last one, and that gives us a metric of where the card starts and ends, and allows a lot of cool things you're going to see on the videos I'm about to show. So, one last thing before we can start looking at videos.
Ist ein Auto- und ein Haarfan.
And this is really creative.
Und Häuser.
Total credit for the people, for the tools programmers. I personally had nothing to do with this. This was already at CIG when I joined. It's absolutely amazing. So, we have an hairstyle that was ready, that you can see over there. And we have a hair cap. An hair cap is basically a mesh on top of the character's head, which is invisible, transparent. It is just there. Sometimes we use it for shadowing. That thing has an UV. And so we project the hair, or where the hair starts, onto that UV, and gives us that image that you see on the middle, right? And so we now have a 2D space that relates to a 3D location. Meaning that if I want to have hair like mine, which is white on the sides and dark on the top, I could just paint this part and get it white on one side and then dark on the top.
Ziemlich gut, ja.
An insane advancement, because cards normally are stacked on top of each other. So when an artist is placing cards, if you paint one card to make it white here, well, it's going to be stacked on top of the other, and you're going to get spots all over the place and no control over it. So this allows us to give control. And what you see on the last image is the possible results. For example, now I can paint one side of my 2D representation of my 3D space and get this possible
Und trotzdem hat man einen richtig guten Übergang und alles.
So,
Richtig geil.
Also es ist halt vor allem wieder sowas, wo sie beim Erstellen schneller werden.
Ja.
Ist einfacher für die Designer.
Next video.
Ich sehe hier aber schon wieder 1000 Möglichkeiten dann.
Power tools, okay? This is not
Also
the way
eine
it's going to be
Tech-Erklärung ist
exposed
wirklich
to
ein
you
bisschen
guys in the
klobig.
character customizer. You'll know more about that
Aber
later.
der ist einfach so
okay?
drin.
This is the tools we use we are able to actually create the hairstyles. So let's take a look at this video.
Ey, lange Frisuren bei Frauen war so wichtig.
Und du kannst Melanin einstellen, okay. Das ist
Oha.
einfach nur sozusagen die Sättigung.
You have the full range, so you can go for full white. These are melanin ranges, so realistic ranges. Fully white up to black.
Mabu ist wirklich so, ja.
Obviously, you can go redhead as well. Get out of the way. You also have the dye feature,
Okay.
where
Ja,
you can
klar.
see all
Ja,
the
klar.
things we talked about.
Es wird einen
implemented.
Barbershop geben.
You can go a
1000%.
bit more wild on this.
1 Milliarden%. Also der ist jetzt schon confirmed. Also du kannst nicht sagen, ich will mir am Anfang einen Charakter erstellen. Das ist wie GTA. In GTA willst du auch immer andere Frisuren haben. Mega
Wenn ich
krass.
es richtig gesehen habe, kannst du sogar Strähnen
Ja.
reinmachen.
Das ist ja das, was er eben gezeigt hatte. Von wegen,
Genau, weil
ne?
du halt die einzelnen weil du einzelnen Strähnen auch wirklich einzeln hast.
Ja.
Das ist nicht eine Ja, stimmt.
Krank.
Length Control? Oh
Ja.
nein.
Ja, klar.
Ja, okay.
Ja, da ist
Ja, das ist die Länge der Farbe, okay. Also ja, okay. Okay.
es.
And this is why important the length of the card
Soll ich dir
is
sagen-
stored in those vertex.
Soll ich dir sagen, warum das wichtig
obviously
ist?
you can fade
Weil
it as
Haare
well as much as
wachsen.
you do.
Und wenn
So
du die
all the
gefärbt
possible
hast,
combinations
wächst das irgendwann
between the
raus.
realistic melanin
Dafür
ranges
brauchen die das.
and the dye layer, okay? This is how
Dafür
the
brauchen
occlusion
die
is
das.
working, so you can see these shadowings, creating more negative spaces, more structure to the hair. And if you look at the temporal line here, you can see how this pixel depth of set helps us with the transitions as well. Cool.
Ja, dichtes und dünneres Haar.
By the way, did I tell you these are actually game-ready assets,
Ja,
ready
klar,
to go to
natürlich.
BU?
Ich sehe schon die ganzen Männer jetzt noch mehr Frauencharakter spielen.
So now that we understand a bit better how the hair is working, that's why the boring part that I told you just before, you can examine these images with a bit more.
Das ist Mabu, das
of an
wird er ganz am
informed
Ende. Er
opinion.
meinte, er hat
That
noch
is
eine
basically the
Überraschung.
example.
Das sind die Bärte, glaub
That's all
mir.
very exciting, but we want to show you hairstyles that are actually in Star Engine and working. So that's the video we're going to take a look next, okay?
Mhm. Oh, geil. Aber wie gesagt, diese Dye-Länge wird wahrscheinlich eine Rolle spielen, weil die Haare weiter wachsen.
Beim Rauswachsen, ja, das kann schon sein, auf alle Fälle.
Das wird da eine Rolle spielen. Dann spiele ich einen Einsiedler.
Du hast einfach lange Haare und so buschigen Bart.
Boah, die Frisuren
Geht weg von meinen Äpfeln, geht direkt weg.
Die Frisuren sehen so viel besser aus jetzt schon, ne? Das ist die zweite Frisur und ich denke mir schon so, die sieht so viel besser aus als das, was sie bisher schon hatten und die waren auch nicht schlecht.
Diese einzelnen Haare, die halt rauskommen, gehen halt auch nur deswegen wieder, weil es halt nicht
so
gebaut werden muss, sondern weil es einfach sagen, oh, da sind halt ein paar lose Haare drin.
Die Frisuren sind so gut.
Oh, die Dreck jetzt, das sind meine Äpfel.
Die zeigen gerade alles, was ready ist, ne? Also.
Ja, er hat gesagt, das ist so alles ready for PU. Also, man muss sagen, er hat gesagt, die sind alle Game ready. Er hat nicht gesagt, die kommen jetzt.
Ja, die sind alle Game ready.
Aber das heißt, mit 3.22 können sie definitiv reinkommen.
Mhm. Und der Barbershop.
Und der Barbershop dazu. Oh. Ich will.
Das Detail sieht doch viel krasser aus als alles, was wir bisher hatten, oder?
Ja, auf alle Fälle. Und das Coole ist, was ich jetzt machen kann, oder was man jetzt tatsächlich mit einem Barbershop machen kann, fällt mir gerade auf. Das ist nicht nur einfacher für die Designer, sondern du kannst theoretisch, wenn du auf eine UV-Map malen kannst und sagen kannst. Achso, ja, der hat auch Namen, ja, genau. Wenn du auf die UV-Map einfach malen kannst, dann kannst du theoretisch auch sagen, ich will nur hier Haare haben. Das heißt, man könnte meine Frisur zum Beispiel nachmachen, indem man einfach sagt, nur da Haare hinmalen, da sollen lange Haare wachsen und dann hast du das halt.
Ja. Guck mal, diese kleinen Strähnen, die rausgucken und so, das ist so detailliert und so gut.
Oh, und du siehst, du musst immer, ich gucke die ganze Zeit schon oben auf den Rand, weil wenn du halt da wo du durchgucken kannst durch die Haare, siehst du halt auch den Hintergrund dahinter richtig. Da unten jetzt hinten zum Beispiel. Es ist zu fett.
Das sind so gute Frisuren. Das sind so gute Frisuren. Chat, ich mache für euch die Musik dann immer ein bisschen leiser bei sowas, weil wir uns da ein bisschen unterhalten können. Wahnsinn. Die sind alle Game Ready. Alles, was der gerade zeigt, ist Game Ready, Leute. Hier siehst du den Hintergrund, wenn du durch die Haare guckst. Das ist so krass. Und an manchen Stellen guckst du halt wirklich so durch mehrere Strähnen dann durch. Ach du Scheiße.
Ja, ich finde auch, die Gesichter haben schon diese neue DNA-Look-Dings, aber ich weiß nicht.
Ja, die sind schon, noch recht ähnlich. Also
die sind aber neu. Also ich habe jetzt keins davon gesehen, dass ich irgendwie, wo ich sagen könnte, ah ja gut, das kann ich jetzt schon nachbauen.
Doch. Das geht schon. Das geht schon. Das mit den Scars, also mit den Narben, das konnte man nicht nachbauen bisher.
Great guys, so I can see by your feedback that you really enjoyed the dye, so I'm gonna try and direct things that way next time. Pretty cool. Okay, yeah, these are game ready assets as well. Now, like I promised you, we're trying to make this diverse and get away a little bit from this type of hairstyles you just see now, which is a bit more military. And for that, we'll have the next video. Now, it's important for you to understand if there's any 3D artists, character artists, air artists out there, you will know. Some of the hairstyles you're going to see next are some of the hardest things you can do in hair for games. In a practical sense, if you can do what is going to be shown next and render it at 60 frames per second on an MMO, you can do pretty much anything. Okay?
Oh, jetzt setzt er die Pipeline aber hoch hier.
It's our glimpse into the future of what type of diversity we want to achieve. We're not only going for this style, but just showing you that if this style is one of the directions, then the full range will come. I hope you enjoy.
Jetzt.
Ja, also es stimmt schon. Also Hairsinn ist schon immer ein Meilenstein gewesen für Videospielsachen.
Oh, shit. Auch die kleinen Strähnen wieder oben, die so ein bisschen rausgucken, ne? Oh, fuck.
Dreadlocks, okay. Here we go. Auch, dass es so aussieht, halt so gefilzt aussieht, das Haar ist geil.
Scheiße. Ich will einen Barbershop auf meiner 890, die ich mir gleich kaufe.
Die Carrie kriegt bestimmt
Ja, klar.
einen extra
klar.
Barbershop.
Boah, das sieht so gut aus, ne? Das sieht so gut aus.
Ich will eine Terrapin-Barbershop-Variante. Jetzt sofort.
Das ist kulturelle Aneignung. Ja, Dreadlocks, scheiße.
Ja, das Gute ist, dass es so weit in der Zukunft spielt, dass es das unter Umständen gar nicht mehr
Ja,
gibt.
gibt's
Das ist von
keine-
irgendeinem Planeten,
ja.
die Frisur.
Wow.
Die haben die da alle. Das ist fertig. Ja, mit
Ich habe das
Dingern
Gefühl,
drinne.
dass deine Frisur gleich kommt, Tobi.
Ja, wäre cool. Würde mich freuen. Pommesbuden. Das wäre aber echt gut. So Foodtruck wäre wichtig noch, finde ich.
Ja, das ist die Cutter. Das ist die dritte Variante von ihr. Oh shit, auch, dass da so ein bisschen, ne, die
Das reinrasierte, ja.
reinrasiert ist. Holy Packeroni.
Thank you,
Der
guys.
hat wieder das Gas, der eine.
Mhm.
Komm, sag's.
So,
auch
yeah.
Game Ready.
Like I've been saying,
Yeah.
these pictures you see here,
Ja, klar.
they are all rendered as you've seen in real time, depending on the light conditions and stuff. But there is no tricks here. This is actually how it looks. And that's why we're really proud. Like I said, it doesn't end up here, okay? We're pushing this forward. This is just to replace the stuff that was there. I'm pretty sure you guys were tired. Nobody at CIG was happy with what we had. I can assure you that. Yeah. Especially as an artist, right? So, but we finally arrived. Now, we've seen all this. What does this mean in a practical sense for you guys? It's the question you may have. Well, let me tell you really fast. We made over 75 hairstyles since like 6 months ago. On the last 6 months, we made 75 hairstyles. That is a lot. That was possible with all the changes we made. Yeah.
Holy shit! Also fallen alle anderen raus, oder was?
That is a
Oder
great
wurde auch
achievement.
neu
Now,
gemacht?
we cannot hand them all to you right now. It's very simple. It's very simple. It doesn't end up here at the artist end, okay? After this, there's a tech art pass where they need to skin it. They need to make it work with hats, with goggles, with everything that needs to work, right? So it's a process that takes time, but we wanted to have a certain amount, a quantity that would be enough to replace all the stuff that it's there, give you enough variety for you to start, and that's what we're going to see next. Now, it also tells you when are you getting it. So, as a last note, I'll leave you with this video, and next, Forrest will come here to talk about this stuff. So,
Okay.
let's take a look at this, guys.
Okay.
This is
Okay,
actually
good.
what you're getting. Into the PU.
Die Glatze, das ist wichtig. Oh, jetzt die Frauendinger, okay.
Krass. Also einfach schon mal 20 Frisuren jetzt von Anfang an.
Genau, weil die schon eingestellt sind auf Helme, Mützen und Goggles und sowas.
Krass.
Q4, nice.
Ende des Jahres noch.
So before the
shit.
year ends, you're all gonna get to enjoy these hairstyles. It was a pleasure to be here with you today, guys, and see you in the bus.
Krass. Ja, auf keinen Fall. Ja, ist nicht. Nee.
Ja, aber das kann schon sein, wenn der EA-Patch
Another round of applause for Andre and getting new hairs into the game.
Nee.
I can't wait to put new hair on my character, I'll tell you that.
Keine
And for
Bärte, ja,
Ian
leider.
and his awesome character team and the amazing characters they showed us earlier.
vielleicht kommt das
Absolutely
jetzt noch.
fantastic.
Oh Gott, ist ja laut.
I'm going to run through this. We don't have a lot of time. I'm going to talk to you about character heads. We've talked about hair. We have talked about outfits. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the heads and our pipeline and getting us from the actors that we hire to do the photogrammetry all the way to the game characters. So we have a DNA pool, expansion, and customization I'm going to be taking you through. We made a data-driven pipeline for adding new heads. So what is a DNA pool? DNA pool is just a bunch of heads that we put into the game. That way you can modify the ears, the nose, the chin, the mouth, and you could interpolate between all the different heads. A DNA pool. We want to expand the pool and allow for more selection and range. So we scanned 60 new heads for our DNA pool, 60 new heads. And we processed them internally.
16 mal mehr.
We also added customizable facial features, skin tones, complexion, makeup layer on top, revisited the eyes. These characters look new and they look great. All right, so our current pool, there's the 18 heads right there, but that wasn't enough. We need more. That is our new pool.
Okay. Ach, eine alte Frau rechts, alter Mann oben rechts.
Very exciting.
Cool.
Right now in the PU, when you're playing, see that center row? You get 9 females and 9 males. And now we're going to be getting all these characters. It's for Squadron and the Persistent Universe. How do we do it? Well, we partnered with Clear Angle over in Pinewood, London. And they have this thing called the Clear Angle Dorothy Scanner. The scanner improvements allows us to get shoots done in 4 weeks of sessions. Custom coded flash that just kind of does it automatically, all calibrated. In seconds. To give you an idea, our old process for doing this took hours to calibrate.
Alter, was es
This
für
thing
Geräte einfach
does it in
gibt. Das ist
seconds.
nicht normal, ey.
Talk about state of the art.
Ja,
Average of 4 scan actors per day now. We used to be doing 1. What this means to you is we can get you characters faster. We can get you new heads faster. Polarized image data resulted in improved spec, blah, blah, blah. Those are awesome texture maps that we could put on the head.
Blah, blah, blah.
That way we can render them, make them look really good.
Den muss ich wirklich beeilen.
Photogrammetry captured in raw images at 8K texture map resolutions. Hyper accurate scan results.
Gehst du nur noch vor.
Now, close your eyes if you're a little
take off.
sensitive to light.
Holy shit.
This is the process we use to get the pictures, to build the photogrammetry, to calibrate the cameras. Oh, relax. So
Alter.
Kurz mal
All right.
Gebild. Jetzt schwarz.
So there we got some characters
Whoa.
here on the screen. Those are all built using all these things that I've briefly mentioned.
Ich sehe da
I want to talk
Make-up.
to you a little bit about skin tone though.
Hat er gerade eben gesagt, Make-up-Layer.
Skin tone's
okay.
tricky
Ja?
because we want to apply it. We want to be able to customize it. We want you to have the ability to do whatever you want. So what you see is some really weird looking characters. We see a head with some yellow. Yellow's good in this case. What we're trying to do is we're trying to find the average skin color. Once we find the average skin color, we can figure out what that skin tone is, and then we can apply it. The blue means it's further away from the average skin tone. So when you apply your skin tone, it has less influence, keeping those high details, keeping the color, the blemishes, the imperfections. That middle one, that white head, that's where we get once we've extracted the data. It's now ready to apply the skin tone, which you see at the end.
Krass.
Ja, auch so Altersflecken und sowas.
Das ist so gut.
All right, so here's a little more detail what I'm talking about. We knew that we were going to get a pool for these heads, this pool of all these different awesome shapes, noses, ears, lips. But now, with what we're doing currently, you can see that we have calibrated all of our source photos of our actors. And with that, we could figure out exactly what they're supposed to look like. And then once I extract and do the average thing, I'm able to get a value. And that value translates into a skin tone. And that skin tone translates into a chart that you can customize your character with. And what's great about this is as we grow our pool and we get more heads, we get more skin tones. So our skin tones aren't based on, you know, whatever it should be. What should it be? What does it look like? These are real data. These are real data that we get from these incredible clear angle scans and the incredible tech that is written by our staff. And the skin tone will grow along with our head data and along with our heads. And there's an example of me just applying it and showing that in practice.
Ich sehe einen Bart.
Ja.
Ich sehe noch einen Bart.
And now here's another
Ich sehe mehr
look.
Bärte.
Here's a couple more characters that I put together with this stuff.
Ich sehe Bärte.
Das Geile ist halt, dass er.
And here's what's great about that. I did that with our brand new character creator, character customizer for Squadron 42.
Ja, also jetzt muss
Every head you see in here, which will also be applied to the persistent universe, so all heads are in the verse.
Krass.
And as you can see right here, here's a little scene I put together using the outfits, using the hair, using the skin, using the heads. And I did that all with the new character creator. And here to show you that, if the live demo of the character creator, I'm going to bring back my good friend Sean Tracy.
Jetzt zeig's bitte. Aber genau das, was der Mabu gerade gesagt hat, das, oder geschrieben hat, das wollte ich auch sagen. Dass sie halt nicht einfach sagen, wie könnte Haut aussehen, das ist der Hexwert so und so sieht er am ehesten aus.
Alright, so what's this all mean to you guys?
Und wissen, was der Wert ist.
Let's show ya. Time for live demo.
Oh, and create a character, yeah.
All right.
Time for live demo.
So, I want to welcome you to the Biotic Corp Calliope Machine.
Ja, klar. Klar haben die jetzt einfach quasi nochmal was komplett Neues da gebaut.
All right, so here you can see we've got the, whoa,
das
I'm getting feedback.
Ja.
You can see we've got two body types that I can select from at any point in time. So we're going to start in right away. Now, you might recall how the character creator currently works. You would have a whole bunch of source heads from our DNA pool. We would select one of the facial shapes, and then we'd blend it up or down, depending on how much you wanted that certain facial shape. Now, this was pretty good, but it's not the most intuitive of systems. So instead, what we wanted to come up with was a much more intuitive way to control this. And what we've now introduced is sculpting mode.
Und ich sehe ganz witzige Gesichter demnächst auf uns zukommen.
Ja klar, aber das ist...
It's quite interesting to know what's going on behind the scenes, and this wasn't an easy problem to solve, but our animation programmers and tech artists and everybody came together, and they figured out a way to basically make it so that from the DNA pool, we are making a selection based on what you want out of it. So it's going on between all the different options. Now, I'm going to start making some changes here right away. So I want to wind up the nose. You can see that it's all very intuitive. It's fast to use. I'm going to make the lips a little bit bigger here. There we go, something like that. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to adjust the brow here, maybe make a little bit of a heavier brow. Now, we can adjust the eye shape. We can go more almond eyes. We can go more oval. We can have a heavy lid. You know, I can find a whole bunch of different options within here. So here, we're starting to look pretty good. I want to give him a little bit more of a hero chin. And there we go. I'm liking that. Yeah.
Nächstes Mal, wenn der Mabu das Spiel startet, braucht er erstmal wieder 8 Stunden, um Charakter
not to spend
zu
too much
erstellen.
time on that, I want to show you some of the other features. And speaking of features, we go to our skin tone. So finally, you're not just selecting a preset skin tone. You can move through the whole gamut of the lookup table. And this is melanin and hemoglobin at the same time.
Das Ding ist, während er dann rumspielt, sieht es manchmal komisch aus. Da muss ich recht geben.
So
Also
at the
einmal,
very
aber
top
wenn
of
er
it, I've got a
fertig ist, sieht's
texture
wieder
slider.
passt
So
wieder.
instead of the whole head sort of selection, we can go between
Oh,
all the
nice.
different textures. Now, like Forrest mentioned, we're going to have 30 of these for one body type and 30 for the other body type.
Pulsar doch.
So here I'm kind of
Doch,
like
doch, doch.
in what am I like? Oh, I like this one. So here, and I'm just gonna set a skin tone that I kind of like, something like that. That's cool. All right. So the next step in our skin tone is the complexion, and complexion we've added freckles.
Ja, klar.
Nice. Gut. Sehr gut. Mag ich. Finde ich gut.
So here I'm just blending in and I'm blending out the amount of freckles. Now I've cranked it all the way to the top just so you guys can see it. But for my character here, I'm going to keep it kind of subtle, like this, but quite a few of them, something like that. We've also got sunspots. Now this is, a little more weathered skin. We'll give this sort of look. And we've got a whole bunch of different blemish masks planned for you guys, whether that's sunspots or liver spots or anything to that effect. Now, I'm going to give this guy kind of a weathered look because I think the skin tone looks pretty cool like that. Yeah, I'm digging that. All right, so next up, eyes. So no longer do we have the green and the brown, just the full selection.
ist geil.
You've got a full RGB chart of what you want to select. So if you want to have bright green eyes, if you want to have hazel eyes, if you want to have blue eyes, if you want to have any of these eyes, this is all very, very nice. So again, we can go with deep browns. We can go with sort of a steely blue, which I'm kind of digging for this skin tone. I quite like that look. That's cool. Oh, well, we'll get into some funky colors. Don't you worry. All right. So one of the other things we've added, and it was mentioned before, we've added a makeup layer. And with the makeup layer, we're totally inclusive. Any of the body types can have makeup. Now, I don't want to spend too long on it here because we're going to get into it in a couple minutes. But I just want to show you sort of blending that in, blending that out for this particular body type. So next, as Andre talked about, we have all the hairstyles that you could want.
Das Bad. So
So I'm just going to pick a couple different ones.
Bad.
There's a reality for some of us and another reality for another one of us. There it is. That's what I want my reality to be here. Something like this.
aber
I'm digging the
ich find's
mohawk
nicht
though
schlimm.
for this
Ich
one. He's
erklär's
got a
gleich.
bit of a Mr. T look to him. I kind of like this. Yeah, I pity the fool. All right.
Ja.
So it might go without saying that we've got beards now. So if you want to select a full beard, you can select a full beard. If you want just mutton chops, you got your mutton
Sieht so
chops.
gut aus.
You want your handlebar, you got your handlebar. All right. So we've got all the different beard types that you could want, and we're going to add as many as you guys really want. So I'm kind of digging the full beard for this guy.
Mhm. Der Charakter
Yeah,
sieht
I'm digging
so
the full
gut
beard for this
aus.
guy. Even further to that, we've got eyebrow selection,
Ja, klar.
which is, I mean, you could go with no eyebrows. That's a very real. You could have bushy ones. You can have a little bit more, normal, kind of straightforward ones. But it was mentioned before during the hair and with Forrest's discussion that we've got the hair dye as well. So with the hair dye, you can affect all the hair at once, and right now I've got all selected, so I can go through the gamut of all the different hair melanin that you can set. So here I'm just going to darken it up a little bit, and if I wanted to dye the facial hair, I could just dye the facial hair all by itself, setting a dye color here, something like that. But in the end, I'm really digging the jet black on this particular one. So I'm going to frost these tips a little bit. I think that's going to look kind of cool. Let's set a bit of a blonde here, turn up the dye amount. And then what's really cool about this, and I'll show this in a minute, is that we can actually control the fall off of it. So again, if I just want this on the tips, I can just blend it right about
Mega
here.
gut, ja.
So there we go. he looks a lot different than how that started, and I think that's actually pretty fun. Now, there's a lot of stuff in here, and I can't wait for you guys to explore it and spend as much time as you want customizing and expressing yourself as a character. So once you're done, you've got to sign off a personal declaration that the physical appearances that the calliope process has allegedly caused are okay with you. So let's go to our next body type. All right. So I'm going to go to town here real fast, right away. And you might think it looks a little off or so, but I don't know. We're going to get there. Let's make some changes here. I'm going to adjust the bridge of the nose, maybe a little bit of the cheekbones here. That's maybe a little extreme. Let's go back here, something like that. And I'll make the lips a little bit smaller here, and I'm gonna lengthen that chin for a little more of a triangle kind of face here. So you can see, you can tweak to your heart's content. You can spend a lot of time doing this. And I don't really like the brows. I like a little bit softer of a brow for this particular character. And that's looking pretty good to me, actually. So next, just like we did before, we go into features. We can do the skin tone. I'm gonna select a certain texture here, just because we gotta get going on time here. Let's go. Something around here is looking pretty good to me. Cool. All right, we go into the complexion the same way that we did before.
Ja, also
So we
da
start
wird
with the
definitiv
freckles.
damit Blödsinn betrieben, aber
And I kinda
ich
like
denke,
the real
dass CIG da
freckled
dahinter
appearance on
sein
this
wird, dass das
particular
relativ
character.
schnell mit ein, zwei Patches
And
dann
I'm gonna
auch
turn
raus
down
ist,
the
dass man nicht
sunspots.
so absolute
So,
Ugly
we move
Faces und sowas
forward
machen kann.
to the
Ja,
eye
aber-
color
Aber
das
again.
ich
Ding, was
gehe
ich
davon
sagen-
aus,
ja.
dass
Ooh, I'm
so
really digging the
80% der
green.
Spieler das eher serious sehen.
Yeah.
Also
I like the
ich
green
Ja,
color.
erstens, ich meine, da kann man
And
sich nicht
we
drauf
get to
verlassen,
the
das stimmt schon,
makeup.
aber
Now, this is where I wanna
das Ding
spend
ist,
more time.
so wie
Now,
sie es
I'm
gebaut haben,
arguably not
gibt
very
es
good at
natürlich
this,
Ugly Faces, aber es wird halt
but
nicht so
I
es
will do
geben,
my absolute
wie so
best to show you
Elder
guys,
Scrolls typische
how
30
you can-
Zentimeter lange Nase, Ohren,
how
die
you can
doppelt so
use
hoch
it.
sind wie der Kopf. So ein Quatsch gibt's halt nicht.
Naja, aber du
So
kannst
Sondern
halt,
alle
du kannst
Sachen
die Nase
basieren
halt
auf
voll,
DNA-korrekten
kannst
Sachen.
halt die
Eyeliner,
Nase
we
voll
can do any
raushauen, kannst die
color. You
Ohren
can go
voll
as crazy
raushauen, kannst
or
das
as
Kinn
still as
klein
you
machen und
wanna
dann
go
sieht's
with
halt
this,
trotzdem
but
aus
for
wie ein
this
Trottel.
particular, I'm
Also
gonna go
Es sieht aus
full
wie, ja,
dark
aber ganz
here,
ehrlich,
just in the
wenn
dark
du
sort
dir
of
überlegst, dass diese
fuchsias.
DNA zwischen diesen Menschen in echt
Here,
getauscht
we'll do
würde,
the
dann würde ein
inner
Kind
lid
rauskommen, das so
eyeshadow.
aussieht.
And that
Das
I'm
meine ich
kinda
damit. Dadurch,
keeping
dass alles auf einem Pool
same
basiert von
theme,
echten
I think.
Gesichtern, echten
Ja,
Features,
aber
die sich auch in
du
echt
hast-
miteinander mischen
in-
können.
In echt
So
ist
again,
es
we
so,
can go as
dass
crazy
zwei Personen miteinander das machen. Hier sind
or
es
as calm as
80.
you want.
Ja.
Ja, dann hättest du halt mehr Generationen. Aber ich meine, es gibt Leute, die sehen halt so aus. Das ist, kann man sagen, die sind
So,
hässlich. Ich will mich ja nicht drüber
What
lustig
I've had
machen, aber
good
es gibt
success in
hässliche
doing
Leute.
is kind of having
Ist
it
jetzt nicht so,
cranked and then
ich finde es
I
gut,
just
dass
pull
nicht,
it back
also,
to a little
und es gibt
more
auch extrem
of a-
hässliche
of a
Leute.
natural
Die,
blend.
die aussehen, als wären sie aus so einem
Something
Character Creator von Oblivion rausgefallen. Aber
next
die
is
gibt es auch in
the
echt
lips.
einfach.
We
Und
can do the
das sind die,
exact
die in
same
echt so
stuff on the
aussehen.
lips.
Ja.
Now,
Also
what
deswegen
we
finde ich
have
es nicht
is
so
a whole
schlimm.
bunch of different makeup masks, and you've
Du
got
musst ja
3
damit
different
rumlaufen, ja.
channels within those masks. So basically 3 different colors that are affecting different areas of it.
Ist eh
Now, for the
subjektiv.
lips, we can go
Oftmals,
with
ja.
the same sort
Aber
of theme
du
if we
kannst
want
halt,
it.
also
And I think
Skyrim
I'm
und
actually
Co.
kinda
kannst halt
digging
wirklich
that.
und hier
Let's
Starfield
go on the
etc.
lip
Du kannst
liner,
halt Dinge
a
bauen,
little
die
darker. And then lips are a
anders
lot more
sind.
glossy.
Also ich meine,
so we can
es wird bestimmt auch
increase
Leute
the
geben, die
gloss
haben dann
there,
einfach
so that
die
looks
halten
a
so
little
dieses
more like
typische,
a
irgendwie
lip
krass
gloss.
grüne Haare und einen pinken Bart
Yeah,
und
that
dann
looks pretty cool
dickes
there.
pinkes
And
Make-up oder
then,
so im
like I
Gesicht.
was doing before,
Das
I
ist
kinda
eher
just
das,
pull it
okay,
back
aber
a
dann
little
kann man
bit.
auch sagen, okay, der nimmt
There
das
we
halt nicht
are.
ernst und der ist dann halt
So next,
vielleicht auch in der Welt einfach ein Troll. Kann ja sein.
I think we're
Ist ja
good.
okay.
Yeah, I think we're good. I have no business doing that, that's for sure. Same thing on the hair. Again, we've got a whole bunch of different hairstyles. These will all be shared between the 2 body types, but for this particular demo, we've got the ponytail, we've got the slick back kind of look. Yeah, I'm not finding one I'm really digging yet. Ah, yes, yes, now we're talking. All right, so cool. Now, again, we're fully inclusive here, guys. So, if you want facial hair on any body type, you got facial hair on any body type. That is up to you guys.
Wo wir wieder bei dem Gespräch von vor 2 Sekunden sind.
So on the eyebrows, I'm just going to leave them because we
Ja,
can't,
aber wie
can't
gesagt,
really
das-
see them
ich
anyways.
find's nicht schlimm.
But
Ist
for
okay.
the hair, I
Dann-
really like dyeing this hair a certain color, sort of, you know, something in the darker range. Gonna turn that down. I like the nice jet black. Look at the makeup bounce out. That looks cool. I'm gonna turn up the dye though, and I'm gonna try to carry my same
Marbo
theme
sehe ich
forward
ähnlich.
here.
Sehe ich ähnlich.
There we go.
Wir haben's in
And then
Sea of
I'm
Thieves gesehen, wo es
give it
wirklich
a bit of a
schwierig ist,
fall off,
einen sehr ulkigen Charakter zu machen, und
as you
selbst
can
da
do.
gab
So it's
es
just on the tips there.
mehr
So let's
mehr
see that in
Bullshit-Charaktere
action.
als wirklich Leute, die sich damit ein bisschen beschäftigt haben. Und da ist es wirklich schwierig. Also du,
Ja, ich weiß ja, das ist eine
Alright.
Auswahl von
So
Charakteren.
now, you know, at first, we weren't sure about that character, right? But in the end, I think she turned out, definitely. So, you go to a review, sign off your declaration again, and head to game. So, you know, I'm really lucky to be able to sit in front of this. And again, it was a huge amount of work from tech art, engineering, designers, and specifically the squadron feature team that has done all this work. And one of the cool things to note is that we use this now internally as a tool. That's why it's me up here demoing this. This is our tool internally for creating all these heads, for creating all the NPCs in the verse. Because as Chris put it one time, he doesn't want his NPCs to look lame. He wants them to look cool. And this gives you cool looking characters. Thanks a lot, guys.
ja,
Genau.
das stimmt.
Und das ist das Ding.
Wenn
Und
die
ich will
Leute,
halt auch niemandem
das ist ja
vorschreiben,
geil,
dass
guck
er.
mal. Da waren beide sogar.
Ja.
Also, ne? Ja, klar. Den Mann kannst du auch nicht mehr ernst nehmen, ey.
It works. All right, we're behind on schedule, so let's welcome the Life in the First Person crew. Take it away. I'll be here. I'm busy.
Das ist so gut.